Okay, very quick announcement before we get started. To make sure you're notified when I post a new video and to make sure they appear in your subscription list, please do click the subscription bell, the notification bell. Some of you subscribed, double check and make sure that you are still subscribed to BWTM Sports and make sure that you've clicked the bell and it says all, not just personal but all, because YouTube have had a habit of going across the people's channels that are subscribed and have the notification bell and have been unsubscribing people. So double check that your channel is not unsubscribed to BWTN Sports. If that's the case, please do subscribe and smash that bell. Thanks so much. I hope you enjoy the show. Okay, so here we go. So the video is called "The What Ifs of Boxing, leading to Fury versus Joshua." I hope that you all are good and well during the lockdown and that you are in good spirits listening to this show. It's a little late at night, actually 12:30, actually Tuesday morning. Would have done it a bit earlier, but seems funny enough for you. Would have done it a bit earlier, however, at the time I was going to do the show, I then got bombarded with a whole heap of calls and the rest of it. But we're here anyway. So before I begin this video, because there's always somebody on YouTube in the comment section who's got something smart to say, like, oh, but that wouldn't have happened. It's called fantasy. Some of it's fantasy and some of it's just what ifs. Okay, so the title is called "What If?" The what ifs of boxing. So these are the sort of questions I would ask myself, particularly in the lead up to this particular fight, Fury versus Joshua. There are a few things that still need to happen. However, this also is leading up to Styles Make Fights and the evolution of both Fury and Joshua, their fighting styles, and how they've changed through the years and what's caused them to change. I'm going to start really with Tyson Fury. And I was going to start with the John McDermott fight, but I'm not going to use the John McDermott fight because Fury beat McDermott in the rematch. And I'm not going to start with Derek Chisora because Fury beat him quite convincingly in the rematch. But I will start with Vladimir Klitschko. But before that, I'll even talk before that of the introduction of Peter Fury in Tyson Fury's corner. Question number one is, what if Peter Fury didn't train Tyson Fury? Would he have been good enough, based on what he did against John McDermott at the time, Nevin Pajek, would he have been good enough skill-wise to have beaten Vladimir Klitschko that night had Peter Fury not been training him? That's a what if. What if? Next question. Tyson Fury was going to fight David Haye. What if that fight did happen back then? Now we're talking time periods. We're not talking about Gypsy King period. We're talking back then. Okay? What would have happened had David Haye fought Tyson Fury? How would that fight have gone? And how would that have affected the heavyweight division? If Haye had beaten Fury, what would we be talking about Fury today? What would we have been saying? And if Fury had beaten Haye, would people still believe he would have gone on to become world heavyweight champion? Let's skip forward a bit. The night that Tyson Fury beat Vladimir Klitschko to become heavyweight champion of the world, what if it was Anthony Joshua in Germany that night? Would they have checked the canvas? How would Joshua fought that night against Klitschko? Bearing in mind, first thing people jump up and say is, he was inexperienced. So, just a question. What would have happened tonight if Anthony Joshua had fought Tyson Fury the night that Klitschko fought Fury? How would that press conference have gone at the time? Because Joshua had a tentative start against Klitschko, if you remember. And Klitschko was psychologically beat down by Fury before he even got in the ring, because Fury was blasting him and embarrassing him and making him feel very uncomfortable. Would Joshua have been able to get Klitschko out of his comfort zone? Question. How would Joshua have performed in Germany? Would he have got the decision? How would he have performed stylistically against Klitschko that night? Was Klitschko good enough that night to have beaten Joshua? Questions. Just questions to think about. And you can obviously debate in the comment section afterwards. So let me know what your thoughts are on this. There is no real right or wrong answer. It's just what if. So, okay. Fury becomes heavyweight champion of the world. Question. What if Tyson Fury had fought in Vladimir Klitschko in the rematch? We know that Vladimir Klitschko, after he lost to Fury and he went on to fight Joshua, he had a more of an exciting style. He abandoned that defensive style and went try almost gung-ho against Joshua. Apart from the fact that when he had Joshua hurt, he didn't finish him off. So we'll go back to that point there. What if Tyson Fury had fought Vladimir Klitschko in the rematch? We know at the time Tyson was not in a great space psychologically, emotionally, spiritually, was not in a great place going into that rematch. But let's ask ourselves another deeper question. If Tyson Fury didn't get banned from boxing or suspended or whatever you want to call it, would he still be unbeaten today? 1. 2. Would he have defended the title against Klitschko? And 3. Would he have beaten Klitschko in the rematch? 4. Would he still be unbeaten after that? And who do you think Tyson would have fought next after that Klitschko fight? Moving on. So let's move things on. For Anthony Joshua's career, the night that Joshua fought Dillian Whyte, now I've said before and I'll say it again, I believe that Dillian Whyte was injured going into the fight. Not making excuses, he was injured going into the fight. If you go back and listen to my videos beforehand, I said it wasn't a fight that Dillian Whyte should have taken, but it was the opportunity he jumped upon and took the fight. If Dillian Whyte had beaten Anthony Joshua that night, what would people have been saying about Anthony Joshua? And what would people have said about Dillian Whyte? If Dillian Whyte, that when he caught Joshua in that round and he hurt him, what would happen if Dillian Whyte had finished Joshua off in that round or in that fight? Question mark. Let's push things forward a bit. Joshua becomes world champion. Fury's out of boxing. Wilder beats Laverne. Goes on and defends his title on numerous occasions. Of course, the what ifs again. So Fury, let's pull this forward. Question mark. Fury versus Wilder. First fight. What if Tyson Fury didn't beat the count of 10? What if the referee counted a fast count and counted Fury out? What would boxing fans be saying today of Deontay Wilder and his punching power? In the 12th round, he drops Fury, he doesn't get up. What would people be saying about Deontay Wilder today? Would they still be poking holes at his flaws? Would they call him the greatest puncher of all time? Would he be called the greatest fighter of all time? Or would there be just pure excuses as to why Fury, why Wilder, um, why Wilder beat Fury? Question mark. Anthony Joshua against Andy Ruiz. Here's a big one. What would have happened if Anthony Joshua had successfully defended his title against Andy Ruiz? Okay, let's take Andy Ruiz out of the equation. Let's put in Jerome Miller. On the night that Anthony Joshua fought Andy Ruiz and Jerome Miller was in the ring that night, how many people think that Jerome Miller could have beaten Anthony Joshua that night? And if Jerome Miller had beaten Anthony Joshua that night, what would the heavyweight division look like now with Jerome Miller as unified heavyweight champion of the world? I guess Joshua might take that rematch. And if, question mark, only questions, that's all. So we move on. If Joshua, we've got Fury now. So Fury, what would have happened if Tyson Fury hadn't left Ben Davison and stuck with Ben Davison for the rematch against Deontay Wilder? Question. Would we've got the same performance that Fury put on against Wilder in this rematch? If Wilder had knocked out Fury in a sort of fashion that Fury went about and took Wilder apart, if Wilder had done the same thing, would he be considered the greatest heavyweight in this era? And if not, why not? Just a question. Good morning, Vladimir. These are just questions that sometimes I ask myself. I could be washing dishes, I could be walking down the road, watching YouTube, and these questions will go through my head. But here's where it all links together now. So the question now ask yourself is, how much has Anthony Joshua been affected by the fight with Andy Ruiz? We know that Anthony Joshua made some adjustments in his training camp. What would have happened if Joshua didn't beat Ruiz that night? Would that have been him being would he be finished? Would he retire? A lot of people here would say, well, if he'd lost to Andy Ruiz in rematch, he should have retired. There were a lot of people saying that. Interesting layoff you say there. Very, very interesting. Next question. So now, psychologically, Joshua comes through a fight with Andy Ruiz, but we know he'll never be that same guy again. Or will he be that same guy again since that knockout defeat to Andy Ruiz? Tyson, on the other hand, got knocked down by Wilder. Both guys have got something in common. If you watch this, they both got knocked down in fights. Joshua got knocked down repeatedly, like Tyson. Tyson actually stayed on his feet. Went into camp, made changes, and came back and beat Wilder. Joshua got knocked out. Joshua did get knocked out, made changes, came back, had the immediate rematch, and beat Ruiz. They both did one key thing. They made significant changes to camp. How much did those knockdowns affect Tyson Fury's mental state going into the rematch with Wilder? And did that impact the way he went about fighting Deontay Wilder? Clearly, we know that he went onto the front foot against Wilder because he sensed that Wilder couldn't fight well off the back foot. Interesting. Next question. If Deontay Wilder didn't wear that costume, would it have made a difference? Moving on. So now Wilder's been beat. We've got everyone jumping out now, calling him this and that. He's a waste of space and all the rest of it. We've heard it all. You know, you've got people who saying he's a waste of space, or you've got people on the other side saying, you know what, let's give him time, let's see what he does in rematch. Well, only time will tell with Deontay Wilder. Moving on. So now, interesting question. Kubrat Pulev versus Anthony Joshua. If this fight goes ahead, which I think it will go ahead, unless Wilder somehow steps aside, I can't see that happening. How does Anthony Joshua fight Kubrat Pulev? Does he get onto the front foot and try and blast Kubrat Pulev out of there? Or does he get onto the back foot and try and box Kubrat Pulev around the ring? And if he decides to box Kubrat Pulev and moves around the ring against Kubrat Pulev, question. Who's the better boxer technically, between Kubrat Pulev and Anthony Joshua? I didn't ask you who the biggest puncher is. I didn't ask you who the biggest muscles. Who's the better boxer between Kubrat Pulev and Anthony Joshua? Then, what happens if Anthony Joshua goes onto the front foot? So we've got the back foot Joshua now, which we saw against Andy Ruiz. And then we've got the front foot Joshua, the one that fought Andy Ruiz the first time. And we got Joshua, the second Joshua, on the back foot, grabbing, holding, and tying up. Which version is best to fight against Kubrat Pulev? And how much did that knockout defeat scar Anthony Joshua? And how much did those knockdowns against Wilder did scar Fury? I only asked this question for this point. So we have the fight between Fury and Joshua. Should Fury get past Wilder in the third fight, and Joshua get past his fight with Kubrat Pulev, then the two heavyweight champions of the world meet. What strategy will Tyson Fury use against Anthony Joshua? Will he use the strategy of the first fight with Deontay Wilder? More on the back foot, counter punching? Or is he going to go onto the front foot against Anthony Joshua? You see where this is leading to now? Same question I asked Anthony Joshua. You were gun shy against Andy Ruiz. Now you're fighting a guy who's as tall as you or taller than you, who's got significantly probably better boxing ability than you. Don't know if he punches harder than you, but are you a better fighter now because you got knocked out by Ruiz, or you're a damaged fighter because you fought because it's a Ruiz fight? So just a question as to how these two guys go about their business in this big fight. And did those knockdowns, or in Joshua's case, the knockout defeat, cause more harm to Anthony Joshua or more good to Anthony Joshua? Question. And which Fury does better against Anthony Joshua? Ben Davison trained Tyson Fury? Peter Fury trained Tyson Fury? Or Sugar Hill Stewart? Which trainer is best for Fury against Joshua? And what do they each one bring to the table? Okay, I think that's about it on the what ifs. There's a lot of what ifs there. It kind of makes your head. I don't think these things all at one moment, but they're things that float through the mind. What happens if, what have that, and if this happened, that happened. Boxing is about continuity and guys being in the gym and fighting fight after fight and getting themselves match fit and getting themselves, sharp and getting the confidence It's all 90% of sport at that level. 90% of it is mental. 10% of it is physical. It's the mental game, being able to hold it together at the highest level. So I did this video here. Lots of what ifs. Would love to know. Let's get talking in the comment section. What your thoughts of what ifs and how you think it would have all mapped out. And would we have got a Fury Joshua final? Are these now the best? Are they the two best heavyweights in the world? Or if they're the two best heavyweights in the world, where do you rank Wilder? Below Fury and Joshua? Can Joshua beat Deontay Wilder? I don't know. And one last question. What if Anthony Joshua didn't fight Kubrat Pulev and gave Dillian Whyte a shot at the heavyweight championship of the world? What if? Who would win that fight in 2020? There you go. Right. As always, don't forget to rate, subscribe, leave your comments. Please do leave your comments. Where are you in the comment section, people? Please leave your comments in the comment section and leave your requests for videos that you'd like me to do. Maybe fighters you want me to talk about. Maybe you want me to look at fighters, give my opinion on certain fighters, whatever. But let's get this going. All right. Thank you all so much for listening. Lev Gameson, my brother. Thank you so much for your support and your words of wisdom and encouragement. Believe me, in these times they're very encouraging for myself, and it keeps me going and keeps me being the visionary that I am. It's not easy, being on here. It's not easy on YouTube. I tell you, psychologically at times you think you give so much and you get so little back. It's difficult. It's difficult. But we don't make excuses here. We just get on and we fight through. And when we get moments like we have when Rackman's on the show, or talking to Franz or Botha, there are moments that make you think to yourself, wow, this really is worth it. This isn't about no longer, when I first started, it was about views, and it's not about that now. There are two types of people in this world now. There are entertainers and artists. I think I started off being an entertainer on the channel. I think now I've become an artist. I'll tell you the difference between the two. The entertainer does just that. Entertains the fans. But for myself, I would say myself more of an artist, is that I entertain myself. And by entertain myself, I guess I entertain others. You're welcome, Leif. Coach Chris asked the question. I've got a serious question for you, sir. Okay, a serious question. Fire. It sounds ominous. But bring it out, Coach Chris. Bring it out. Coach Chris, where you gone? And just a little encouragement to other people out there that have got YouTube channels, just to keep going, keep pushing. Focus not on, subscribers and views. Just focus on the love of the sport. You've got a lot of people out there that are driven by views and subscribers, and feel that they have to entertain to a point where, they end up being fanboys or fangirls, rather than actually reporting news and reporting things that are factual. Coach Chris says, how do you think Fury gained 20 pounds plus of what we assume lean muscle mass while training to box after losing 100 pounds gained? It's a good question. I think the best person to ask that question would be strength and conditioning coach, because maybe his strength and conditioning coach knows something that we don't know. That's why he's a strength and conditioning coach. Hassim Ratman, who was on our show not too long ago, made a very interesting statement. He slammed James Toney for being in the Hall of Fame because he basically called him a PED user. And he said that anybody who's a PED user should be banned from the sport indefinitely. I say is this much to say this, Coach Chris. We do know there's so many people that turn around and say there's PEDs in the sport of boxing. I will not for 1 second accuse Tyson Fury of that. But I guess the best way to answer that question is for me to get a strength and conditioning trainer into the conversation, ask the question. That's a lot of weight to put on while getting it in all the cardio ring work to get in shape. That is true. That is true. That is true. Another guy that there's a couple of guys you look at when it comes to weight. Anthony Joshua, and we saw the weight how if you look at his career, people say that the way he put on his weight, bodybuilders don't even put on that kind of weight that quickly. That's one. And there's another one. Lennox Lewis. Look at Lennox Lewis's. Again, I'm not making accusations here. I'm just saying look at something. I had this conversation with a coach the other day. Look at Lennox Lewis's physique when he fought Tony Tucker, when he fought fought Oliver McCall. Look at Lennox Lewis's physique then. Gets knocked out. When he comes back and fights Lionel Butler, Lennox Lewis's physique looks so different. Looks so different. Oh, Coach Chris says, I'm a strength and conditioning coach. Well, if you're asking a question, well, if you're asking a question, Mr. Coach Chris, if you're asking yourself the question, how is it done? Then it's either not been taught in the manner you've been reading, your coach that coached you didn't know what was going on, or it's outside the box. I suspect it's the third one, which is outside the box, which leads one to believe that, there's an art to it that not many people know about, or not many people should know about. I think that's what I've got to say, because, it's like this, Mayweather made a very invalid point where he was talking about Manny Pacquiao as he was moving it up in weight. He was becoming a bigger puncher. So, which people thought was quite odd, and then we heard about the Magic Juice and Alex Arisa. I've seen college basketball players put on that kind of weight, but they're 18 to 21 years old. Yes. And that's natural body weight being put on and stuff. So, yeah, I get that, Coach Chris. But I don't know. I don't know if Lennox Lewis changed his strength and conditioning trainer. I don't know how he put on that weight. So, who knows? Who knows? I always ask myself the question. Look at a guy like Michael Moorer, who fought at light heavyweight. He was knocking everybody out at light heavyweight. He was a beast. Not a lot of people talk about Michael Moorer at light heavyweight. He was knocking guys out clean, left, right, and centre. Then he moved up from light heavyweight, skipped the cruiserweight division, went straight to heavyweight. And look at Michael Moorer. He's knocking out guys like Mike the Giant White, who's almost a foot taller than him. Knocked him out clean. You know what I mean? So I always ask myself the question, how do guys like that, with that sort of body, small body, Frank, build and go and fight against giants like Mike the Giant White, or even stand in front of guys like George Foreman, natural heavyweights? Lennox looked naturally big though. Yeah, really? Yeah, but that don't make that comment don't make sense. Lennox looked naturally big. Because why is it before he joined Manuel Stewart, right? He looked the way he did. He looked skinny in comparison to when he fought. He looked like a fully grown man when he fought after he came back and fought against Lionel Butler. But yet when he fought, and yeah, Lionel Butler and what's the other guy named now, the trainer, Aussie guy Justin Fortune. That was another gut fight where Lennox had the dreads and he looked a lot bigger physically. His body looked different. He didn't gain weight while keeping low body fat. He just lost over 100 pounds. It's a valid point. So, Coach Chris, why do you think, I should ask you the question, why do you think Fury's been able to put such good lean muscle mass on? In your opinion, as a strength and conditioning trainer? Because clearly, something's amiss there. When you're talking about it, something's amiss there. So I'd love to know your thoughts on it. I'll give you a few minutes to reply. Okay, so Femi is suspicious. Oh dear me. I'm not going there again. I'm not going there with it. Yeah, I'm not going again. Is this subject an idea for a future video with a strength and conditioning coach? Well, I know a couple of strength and conditioning coaches. HGH for sure. Human growth hormone. Yep, I did think that, but I'm glad you brought that up. I can bring in a couple of strength and conditioning trainers who work with some of the best in the world. I can bring them in. Coach Chris, great to bring you in as well. Um, yeah, there's a couple of guys that come straight off the top of my head that I could bring and do a strength and conditioning show. Yeah. Some low grade test. Yeah, quite possibly. Quite possibly. I'll tell you one thing for sure. One thing's for sure. There's one rule for fighters that have no name promoters, and there's another rule for fighters that are with top promoters. I think the testing gets shady. To me, the testing gets shady, and the rules change depending on who the promoter is. If you're some small hall promoter and you're a fighter's not got making no money, they get like 10 years ban. But if you are a fighter that's with a big name promoter, or you're bringing in lots of money to boxing, no, then we'll just suspend you for a few months, and then you can come back and make as much money as you like. There are different stories for different types of attributes being invented every day. My mind goes there because he's done it before. Of course, of course, your mind's gonna go there and think that. But you know, the whole thing about stamina. We all know, or if you don't know, the story of how they said Michael Watson took blood out of his body and then put blood back into his body. Took the blood out of his body, froze it, and then put the blood back into the body afterwards, which allows more oxygen into the body. Which is why, if you look at Michael Watson, that rematch against Chris Eubank Jr., Senior, sorry, he was an absolute beast from round 1 to round 11 until Eubank caught him with that uppercut. He was fighting like a beast. He was like a man possessed. Yeah, testing punishment or exemption. We've said it before, said it 1,001 times. So, yeah, definitely a subject to really explore. Floyd Mayweather Jr. has shown his insight into the issue by how he demanded certain testing for some bouts. Yep, that is it. That is it, Lev. That's it. A lot of fighters that need to be tested the right way. So ask yourself the question: are these people doing testing, and I've heard all sorts of rumors and stories that how the testing's not as stringent as people may think it is, and dependent on who it is that's getting tested, then they'll give them a tip off as to when the test has been done, so they can cycle and recycle and whatever they have to do. Slip the samples, change the blood samples, all sorts of craziness that can be done if you want to give your fighter the edge. Manny wasn't about that type of testing. Oh yeah, remember, Manny Pacquiao was scared of needles, yet he has tattoos across his body. Go figure. And at that point, I will be finishing the evening. Thank you all so much for watching and listening as always. Coach Chris, great to have you in the room. Much appreciated to have you in the room. And yeah, if you want to hook up and do that show, let's talk about it. Let's do it. Leave me an email, or yeah, if you send an email to this address here. Send an email to that address there. It'd be great. Hey, if you're on Instagram, check us out, BWTM Online on Instagram. If you're on Facebook, get across to our Facebook page. Join in the conversation on BWTM Online. Sports, gaming, news, all sorts of stuff. And different people in the room, not just myself. So get across there, BWTM Online. On Facebook, BWTM Online. On our website, BWTM Online on Instagram. Yeah, so get across and show us some love. But keep hearing most fighters are dirty, so don't know whether to care so much if it's so rife anyway. I hear you. I hear what you're saying. Ruben. Right. I'll send you an email, brother. Thank you. Much appreciated. Again, this has been BWTM Sports and Gaming. We hope that you're enjoying the games as well that are being played. Mafia 3, I think, is amazing. Everybody's Gone to Rapture, another amazing game. Check that out. Control's an amazing game. Vampire's an amazing game. There are 4 amazing games to check out. I've now signed up to PlayStation Now, which means I get almost 1,000 games to try out and play. Some of the games I've got out there is amazing. Plus, we've still got FIFA. We've got Lionel Messi has now become a manager on it. We retired him on that. And Pro Evolution Soccer 2020, we're at a stage now where Norwich City are in the Champions League, and I've just signed up to become England manager. And finally, I've won the World Cup with England on FIFA. Yeah, believe it, I did it. So I think that's about it. Much love, and I will see you all very soon. If it's not gaming, be back here with a boxing show. So much love to you all. Take care, and if you can do anything good, make sure you're good to those that are around you, and socially distance yourself from those people that no longer serve your purpose. Now, as always, don't forget to subscribe. Thank you.